Hello once again, my friends, and welcome to another video. My fellow modelers, my fellow Star Trek fans, my fellow Titanic fans, ocean liner fans, and fans of everything interesting, I'd like to welcome you to another video. Before I start, I'd just like to say thank you, a heartfelt thank you to all my subscribers, and all the kind comments and the support that I've gotten over the years with my videos. I love making the videos and I love sharing my passions with you guys. So my friends, again, thank you so much. Today's video is going to be, especially for my fellow Titanic fans, we are going to go back to the AGORA Models, and I got shipment number 7. Shipment number 7 already. It seems like we just started doing these and we're up to shipment 7. And the last one we had gotten, the box feels a lot heavier than it did last time. And there was a lot of the engine parts last time. So we'll see what we got in this. So why don't we take it over to the desk where there's more room and there's more light, and we'll check out what's in the box. Okay, let's get into this wonderful box and go back to Titanic. All right, first thing we should do is, as usual, we'll go through and I'll show you everything that's in the box. And let's see, this is number 33. Let's see, this one is number 38. And we got the larger one. Let's see, this one is number 36. And we've got 37. 34. And finally, the last box is number 35. All right, now we'll look at the magazines. And let's check this out. We've got 38, 37, oh, it should be 36, here it is, 36, 35, 34, and lastly, we've got issue number 33. So, when it comes to the box, home of big scale modeling, and we've got that beautiful AGORA Models, agoramodels.com. All right, so let's look into issue number 33. And we can see issue 33, we've got Giant of the Sea and the step-by-step instructions. And on this page, they also show you what's coming up in the next issue, which is 34, and is not much. So that makes me tend to believe that that's going to be for the engine room. Going right into the magazine, the first page, we've got the ghost ship. After Titanic sank, rumors claiming that the mystery ship had been seen in the vicinity on the night of a disaster began to circulate. And of course, they're not talking about the Californian, because that was documented that they were there, that ship was in the area. The Daily Graphic. Now, you guys that watch my channel, I actually went through this whole edition of the Daily Graphic for you guys, and that's a really great video if you want to check that out. I made a playlist of Titanic related stuff, whether it's artifacts. There's a playlist for the artifacts. I've also got another playlist for the models as well. Special supplement of the daily graphic, on April 20th, 1912 was entirely dedicated to the ill-fated Titanic. Mention was also made of the Allen Line steamer Virginian, in which was stated that Virginian was the first ship to receive the distress signal from Titanic requesting assistance. And again, I've gone through this entire newspaper if you want to check that out. Good luck and goodbye. Among the radio messages the Marconi operators on Titanic and other liners exchanged in the days preceding the tragedy, some assume a poignant significance when reading after the sinking. What is recalled by the captain of the Tunisian, a steamship of the Allen Line, was that sailing from Canada to Liverpool is particularly moving. The captain recounts that on Saturday, April 13th, around midnight, radio operators of the ship and those Titanic had exchanged messages, some of them regarding the danger of ice. Last words were a simple good luck. The optimistic reply from Titanic was many thanks, goodbye. When it was 887 miles away east of St. John's, the easternmost point of Newfoundland, Tunisian entered an enormous ice field which made its way through with extreme caution for almost 24 hours before deciding to stop engines at least for the night. And in the end, to steer 6 miles south, no less than 200 icebergs were sighted along the obstacle course, and the heroic captain remained on his bridge for 36 consecutive hours. That just shows you the severity of the ice through the shipping lanes at that time, in that time period. So it looks like we're going right to the instructions now. We got pipes for the second engine. Now you guys remember the last video we did, we put a lot of work into one of the engines. And what we're going to do with this, see, these are little gangways, and these are a lot of this are a real bugger to try to get to stay in place. But we've already done it, so it'll be a little bit easier now to follow these instructions. You can see the next page. Putting the gangways in. And again, I know I ramble every time I see this, but I mean, these engines, think about it. These were the size of a 3-story building. Next time you're looking up at a 3-story building, picture Titanic's engines, the reciprocating engines, and how awesome that must have been to see. We're putting more pieces together, the steam pipes. You can see this is going to go in front of the gangway or below the gangway. And we got more pipes. I remember putting all these on already. So these are going to be kind of like a repeat steps for when we go through the engine. Again, we get that pretty cool looking wheel. And it looks small. But again, if this is a 3-story house, you can imagine how tall that wheel is. That steam valve, that thing's got to be, you figure it's got to be what, 10 feet high? You can see the bottom, and the engine is starting to get finished, kind of like the other one is. And more pipes. And lastly, that's what it's going to look like. So we're moving along on the engines. Again, we got the reciprocating engines. I wonder if we're going to get a chance to see the turbine. Now we're going to go to issue 34. And again, we got a date with Destiny and the step-by-step instructions. You can see what's coming up in issue 35. Cogs and the shafts for the gearbox. Message from Maltide. Was the message in a bottle real? And if so, could it really have been written by Maltide? In 2017, it was reported that a message in a bottle had been found. The message was supposedly from a third-class passenger aboard Titanic. What do you think? Is that real? After all this time, or could it just be publicity? Bay of Fundy, New Brunswick, where holiday makers found a message in the bottle. Moving on, we got the Gentleman's Club. Oh, look at that. Look at that picture. Beautiful. The first class smoking room on Titanic was reserved for gentlemen. It was one of the most luxurious spaces on the ship, and it was located on A deck. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so we're going right into the build. The thrust block and the pumps. We had, we had done the thrust block for the other engine. So we're kind of familiar with these. And they look huge on the illustrations, but this is probably like that big. It's really not big at all. And it takes a lot of patience. And we're putting it into the floor of the engine room. Because remember, we already have a thrust block there that we screwed down and secured. Yeah, see, you can see the one we did in the last video. And we're going to put the other one down. A lot of detail work for this. We got more tiny pieces. And look at the finishing touches. And again, you can see the completed work after we put on more of the details. On to issue 35. All right. So, we've got a date with Destiny, life on board, and step-by-step instructions. And you can see what's coming in issue 36. Parts for the steam turbine assembly, including a section of engine room floor. Public and private funerals. More than 1,500 people lost their lives in the Titanic disaster. Of those, the bodies of more than 1,000 were never recovered. Presumably, a lot of them went down with the wreck or were scattered across the debris field where you could see eerie pictures of the shoes and other personal belongings. Coffins and hearses waiting on the dockside in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, where some of the bodies of Titanic's victims were taken by the rescue ships Mackay, Bennett, and CS Minia. Monuments in memory of Wallace Hartley in his hometown of Colne, Lancashire. Children on board Titanic. I love that picture. 6-year-old Robert Douglas Spedden, photographed playing with the spinning top on the promenade of Titanic's A deck, while his father Frederick and other passengers look on. The boy survived the sinking. There were more than 100 children traveling on board Titanic. How they spent their time at sea depended on their social class. Wealthy families traveled on Titanic with nannies in their services who took care of the young children, while parents enjoyed all the luxury liner had to offer. You can see this illustration. This cartoon appeared in the Cincinnati Post newspaper in 1912 after the Titanic disaster. Women and children first. And hopefully you guys can see that illustration. This is Professional Roulette Gamblers, 1910, painted by Pompeo Mariani, who lived from 1857 to 1927. And we're moving on to the instructions. Now this is for the gearbox. This is interesting. Presumably, this is the structure that's going to turn the engines, the reciprocating engine pistons. You can see the gears and how we're going to have to put them in order. And it actually has lubricant with the Q-tip that you use. Quite a few gears, and then you can see the top of the gearbox going on. You can see how it's going to test, and you can see the shafts. Moving on to issue 36. Let's take a look-see. And we've got the 20th century, and we've got the instructions. And this is cool. Looks like we got the motor. Coming in issue 37, we got the transmission box, the electric motor, the case, and the base. So that's going to be fun. Biggest Lunas Titanic. The chambermaid on a Titanic, 1997. La femme de chambre du Titanic. There have been many films and TV shows featuring the tragedy of Titanic, but some have used the great liner as a catalyst for other stories. Again, James Cameron's 1997 Titanic, where the storylines seem to focus on Rose and Jack. I don't know, guys. What do you think? Is that a chick flick? Because Titanic lovers, I love that movie. Because I love that they actually, instead of the CGI, they actually built the ship to film on. And it's absolutely spectacular. The love story may be kind of a chick flick, but I think the shots of the ship are just fantastic. And let's see, this is Olivia Martinez, who was Horty, and Atina Sanchez Gyorn, who was Marie, in a scene from the film. I had never heard of this film, but of course I'll put up the movie poster if I can find it. From 1997, so I should be able to find it. And you've got this photograph. The statue of the Danish author Hans Christian Andersen at the entrance to the Tivoli Gardens in Copenhagen, one of the oldest amusement parks still in operation in the world. This was a site, the theft of the relic from Titanic in 2011. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, right on to the steam turbine. We've got the engine room floor section, the steam pipes, the condenser. You can see the turbine and the two condensers. So this is going to be pretty cool. A lot of screws. And we got a lot of pipes. More little pipes. The D-shaped peg on a steam pipe into the whole steam pipe 36G below left. And let's see, it looks like we're actually putting near the thrust blocks. You can see where it's going to go. The engine room floor and the thrust block assembly are going to be used. You can see how we're going to, that's pretty cool. We're going to fit the engine room floors together. And we got the port and starboard engines. And let's see, we've got the flywheel, the orientation of the flywheel for port and starboard. And you can see how we're going to actually put it on and fit it to the engine room floor. And it shows you how you're supposed to be putting the flywheel. And it's going to go right up against the thrust block. And I guess the shaft is going to go into the thrust block. That's going to be pretty wild when it's done. Got some more steam pipes. connecting to the thrust blocks, and you can see the finished work. So that's pretty wild. Check it out. We got the shafts and everything. Moving on to issue 37. Let's see what we got in here. We got the Edwardian era, 20th century step-by-step instructions. And you can see coming in issue 38, looks like a circuit board, and we've got a cord and we got some screws. The printed circuit board with the PCB switch for testing the motor, nice. Plus the USB cable to C and A cables and screws. So look at this, let's see. This is a lithograph by the Italian sculptor Leonardo Bistolfi, featured in a poster for the first International Exposition of Modern Decorative Arts in Turin in 1902. The exhibition was a showcase of the best of European architecture, furniture, and applied arts. It also helped to spread the popularity of the Art Nouveau design style across Italy and Central Europe. You see that pretty building? The building of the Terma Berzieri in Sala. Okay, I don't want to mess this up, so Salsa Maguire. Overall, the building features stylistic traits derived partly from Liberty Oriental art and Art Deco. Case Giamerti in Milan, designed by the architect Giovanni Battista Bossi. I think we had seen this in prior issues of this in the Edwardian era, because the building looks familiar. Not too many buildings have those kind of designs on them. The official poster that Leopoldo Minikovitz designed for the Milan International Exhibition of 1906. Titanic, the blockbuster, 1997. James Cameron, music by James Horner. Starred Kate Winslet, Leonardo DiCaprio, Billy Zane, Gloria Stewart, Frances Fisher, Kathy Bates, Victor Garber, Bernard Hill, Jonathan Hype, David Warner, and Danny Nucci. It was a great film. Again, the storyline was okay, but I loved the shots of the ship and the accuracy. I just loved it. And here is the poster. The poster of the Cameron film Titanic, which promised viewers something Titanic. You can see that big, beautiful bow. And we move on to the instructions, and look at, this is where we put the motor into the gearbox. Nice, this is going to be fun. And looks like we wire it up. And we screw it all together. The motor and a shaft have been fitted into the gearbox. And that was 37. Moving on to issue number 38. This is the last issue in this shipment. We got the Giant of the Sea, 20th century, and the instructions. And you can see in the next shipment, we'll be getting the working platform, gauges, control supports, the shaft mounting plates, and the screws. Okay, you can see the Cunard line, established in 1840. The Britannia-class of passenger steamships marked an important development for the Cunard line in the mid-19th century. Incidentally, you guys may or may not know, Cunard is still going today, and in the 1930s, White Star actually merged with Cunard. So it's pretty cool to think about it. You got Cunard and White Star that are still around today. And if you want to know what their flagship is, next time you're looking for something to look up on the internet, type in the Queen Mary 2, and that's their flagship. Beautiful, beautiful ship. Anyway, they merged, and it's still around today. And I love the old photos of the ships, or the depictions. Britannia is an illustration taken from an article in the issue of Carriers Magazine, an American engineering publication where it is described as one of the fastest steamships crossing the ocean at the time. I wonder if they had the blue ribbon back then. Here's another illustration, an illustration from the edition of American Notes by Charles Dickens, a detailed account of his journey to North America, which took place from January to June of 1842. Dickens completed the crossing from Liverpool to Boston on board the steamship Britannia, describing how unpleasant the journey was, mainly due to bad weather and rough seas. I tell you, that might be an interesting subject to do a history of the Britannia. That would be pretty cool. Maybe that'll be a future video. Titanic, the Blockbuster, Part 2. James Cameron with the actress Gloria Stewart, who took part of the part of Rose as the elderly woman in the film. You can see a very lovely Kate Winslet. Very, very attractive, very pretty. Okay, let's move on. And we've got Leonardo DiCaprio and James Cameron. I love it. Look at the rail of Titanic. And we've got Molly Brown, played by Kathy Bates, accompanies Rose and Jack to the first-class gala dinner, an invented scene, but one entirely in keeping with the woman's tenacious and nonconformist character. And let's see, we move on. We get to test the motor. Love it. That was some of my favorite parts in the Build the Enterprise from Eagle Moss. Now from Fan Homes, but that's another video. Testing the motor. You can see we got the cord and we've got the printed PCB board. And we're going to use the gearbox, the cord. You can see ahead, stop, and stern. And how the gearbox is going to go. So that's going to be fun. And we're going to mount that gearbox for the turbine onto the extended piece of the floor of the engine room. And you can see we're going to put it into place with AP screws. And you can see the engines. I mean, this is starting to look really wild. But before testing, check the connecting rods on the engines. Make sure they're aligned correctly. On the port engine, the connecting rods 5B move in and out in alternative pairs, first, third, and second, and fourth. Make sure that the pairs are aligned with each other as follows. I wish there was video of the Titanic's engine room. That would just be amazing. You can see the addition of the screws, and look at that, huh? We're putting the PCB board in, and I guess that's not going to mount to the floor. And we've got the completed work, 33. Let's get the razor. And there's not a whole lot in this one. We got a lot of steam pipes. It's so tiny. And I find the best way to keep all these in place is with the super glue. Why take a chance and use the best glue? And there's a lot of pieces. And we have something wrapped up in the tissue paper. And these are more of the steam pipes. Pretty delicate. And these are going to really bring the engine to life. Okay. And that's everything in 33. Moving on to 34. And it looks like you can see the thrust block in halves. And again, we got more of the steam pipes. And look, we got the EP screws. And look at these tiny little pieces. More tiny little pieces. And again, a lot of these pieces, they're so small, they kind of go together. And it would seem to me, I don't know why they wouldn't just make them one piece to begin with, but a couple of FP screws. And again, we've got more of the little steam pieces that are going to go on. And we got one thing wrapped up in tissue paper. This is probably more steam pipes. Oh, this is the gangway, or the catwalk. Okay, moving on to issue 35. And this one is all the gears. Lots of little gears. Let's see. And this is the lubricant for the gears. And we've got the, what are these? CP screws. And let's see, we've got these little metal rods. And let's see, we've got some tissue paper parts. And I think these are going to be the ends of the gearbox. That looks pretty cool. And this is most likely the other side. Yep. That looks pretty wild. Okay, and when it looks like the last thing in the box, oh, actually, I almost forgot to show you the Q-tip. Excuse me, applicator. And that's everything in the box. So, you can see we have, you can just actually push these through. These are the shafts. And now we're moving on to 36. And everything is wrapped. All right. You can see the ends. Look how cool that looks. The turbine. And we got more of the pipes. And this feels like the floor, the engine room floor extension. So that, of course, that's the bottom. This is where everything's going to mount. That's pretty wild. And let's see, we've got a couple of envelopes of the screws. We've got AP screws. And looks like these are EM screws. And let's see. More pieces for the turbine. I love it. This is so cool looking. And this must be the other side, the same one, same piece. Yep. And let's see, finally, in this box, we've got this. And let's see, we're up to number 37. And this feels like the motor. Nice. See the little motor? And we got the cord. It's going to be fun watching that thing work. And let's see, what is this? You can see the cover. And this could be the other housing. Yep. You can see where the shafts are going to go. And let's see, we got, this looks like an envelope. Let me show you guys the letter, the AP screws. And lastly, let's see, this could be the shaft. Yep. I think this is the turbine shaft. And lastly, we're going to move on to issue number 38. Ooh. You can see the USB type cable. And let's see, we've got, what are these? These look like they're AP screws. What else we got in here? Nope, there's nothing in here, but I think this is actually for the board. And hopefully you guys can see where the motor goes. And you can see the switch. And you can see where the cord is going to plug in. And let's see what else is in. That's everything in 38. And that, my friends, was everything that was included in shipment number 7. Now, I'm going to be doing the build video, and that's going to be completely separate. And we're just going to go right into it and build. I'm not going to go over what actually comes with the shipment. That's what this video is for. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you had as much fun going through it as I did. And I'll see you when we put it all together. Thanks for watching.